Okay, we will call the meeting to order. I would like to welcome everyone. We're coming to you from all different corners today, and I appreciate everyone taking a moment out of their busy schedule to be here. We've got some wonderful, exciting things to talk about today, and I can't wait to get started. I would like for Christina to do roll call for me.
Ronald Crockett.
Here.
Spence Flag.
Here.
Vernon Perry Jr.
Here.
Ella Kane.
Here.
Marjorie Tester, Chairwoman Tester.
I'm here.
Stephen Willinger.
Here.
And Dan Witcher.
Here.
Hey, Madam Chairman, everybody on the committee is here.
Thank you so much. Okay, now we're going to talk about the necessity for conducting the electronic meeting. I would like to formally open the first public hearing by announcing the public hearing will now be opened for the City Citizens Participation Plan Adjustment for COVID-19 updates and announce the following.
Hold on, Marjorie. Sorry. I got to read this governor's order first.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so this is for discussion of necessity for conducting electronic meeting tonight. I'm going to read the paragraph, and then if you will agree, all the board members, we will move forward with this. Governor Lee's Executive Order number 16, which has been extended by Executive Order number 34, suspended the provisions of the Open Meetings Act to the extent necessary to allow governing bodies to conduct their essential business by electronic means, rather than being required to gather a quorum of members physically in the same room. The governing body should make a determination that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. At this time, it would be appropriate for the members to discuss whether they believe that meeting electronically is necessary and vote accordingly. If the members do not agree that meeting electronically is appropriate at this time, then this meeting should be adjourned until such time as the members can meet in person. So I will take a roll call at this time. And we'll start with Madam Chairman Tester.
Yes.
Ron Crockett.
Yes.
Spence Flag.
Yes.
Vernon Perry.
Yes.
Ella Kane.
Yes.
Steve Willinger.
Yes.
And Dan Witcher.
Yes.
Thank you.
One question, I notice in our bylaws, special meetings need to have a 5-day notification, and we need to approve them as such. So I guess we might, I'll be glad to make a motion that this would be a special meeting, but it was advertised as in our bylaws, and that if we need that, I'll make the motion.
Sure, Ken.
Okay. So do we hear a nomination?
I moved.
Okay. So now do we do roll call again to vote on it?
Yeah, let's just do it.
Okay.
Chairman Tester.
Yes.
Ronald Crockett.
Yes.
Spence Flag.
Yes.
Vernon Perry.
Yes.
Ella Kane.
Yes.
Steve Willinger.
Yes.
And Dan, you made the motion, so you're an in, right? Okay. All right, Marjorie.
Okay.
Move on to your.
Our next order on the agenda, or the next item on the agenda, is the approval of the minutes from the March 10th, 2020 meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review those minutes?
Yes.
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 Okay. Are there any recommendations or any notes that we need to make about those minutes? Any changes?
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Ron, and Dan sent around a commentary, and I endorsed his commentary with a minor adjustment in the wording.
Okay.
He and I both agree
that the minutes did not record the entire flavor and content of the discussion.
Okay,
And we think it's probably better just to keep it really simple. So we
Okay.
had a discussion and I moved to table the discussion and that was approved. And just
Okay.
keep it real simple like that, rather than getting into all the to and fro, because some of it was not entirely representative, or maybe it's because she makes a recording of everything and I don't realize what I'm saying. I don't know which.
okay,
But
Good.
at any rate, I would move to amend the minutes to reflect what I wrote in my email.
okay.
I'll
So-
second that.
Thank you.
And I think one thing that was in the minutes, I had made a motion that was never seconded. So really that whole discussion was probably out of order. Because, and then I think Marjorie did say we need to vote or something, but there was nothing to really vote on. So
Okay,
I think the first motion that really hit the floor and seconded was what Ron had proposed to.
I'll be glad to make those updates, guys.
okay.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and we need to do roll call on that motion to make that amendment.
Yes. So Ron has the motion to approve to amend as reflected in his email. Dan seconded.
Yes.
Chairwoman Tester.
Yes.
Spence Flag.
Yes.
Vernon Perry.
Yes.
Ella Kane.
Yes.
Steve Willinger.
Yes.
Okay. And Ron and Dan, we have you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So now we need, so the minutes have been approved with that amendment, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
Do I want to make a motion to approve?
I think we made them, I think they've been approved with the amendment. Is that correct, Christina?
Yes, they have.
So we don't need to do another vote.
We're good.
Okay. Okay, next item is the public hearing. So for the purpose of this first public hearing, to provide the citizens of Bristol, public agencies and other interested parties an opportunity to review and comment on the city's citizens participation
I
plan.
can't hear you, Marjorie.
I'm sorry, what?
I can't hear you, hon.
Yeah, there's some background interference now from some side.
I don't know. I'm in a closed room with a door, so I'm not sure what's coming from.
I think when you turn your head to the right is when we can't hear you.
Okay, I will move my paper so I can read this way. Is this okay now?
ma'am.
Yes.
Good
Good.
job.
Thank you for letting me know. Okay. So
Are these the elevators I'm supposed to use?
the purpose of this first public hearing is to provide citizens of Bristol, public agencies, and other interested parties an opportunity to review and comment on the city's citizen participation plan adjustments for COVID-19. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Bristol, Tennessee Citizen Participation Plan required updates or revisions to include virtual hearings as an allowed method for citizen participation when necessary for public health reasons, provide a 5-day notice or comment period for proposed amendments necessary to expedite and facilitate the use of funds to prevent, prepare for, and respond to coronavirus, make minor edits that do not change current citizen participation policies. Please be advised that if virtual hearings are used, real-time responses and accommodations for persons with disabilities and/or with limited English proficiency will be made available to the greatest extent possible. Include provisions relative to the consolidated planning process and participation waivers made available under the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security CARES Act. Include provisions relative to the Community Development Block Grant and other applicable U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development funding made available under the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Securities or CARES Act. A 5-day comment period is in conjunction with this public hearing has been advertised in the Bristol Courier for June 8th through the 12th. Has everybody seen that? Did they see the ad?
Yes.
Emailed to us. Are there any comments or would anyone like to speak regarding the adjustments to the city's participation plan for COVID-19? Okay. Christina, can we open it up for comments from the public now?
Yes.
Okay. So everyone has a list of different agencies.
No, Marjorie, I'm sorry. You got to close this first public hearing. Go to
Okay.
number 6.
Okay, gotcha.
There being no further comments. Yeah.
Okay. There being no further comments, the public hearing will now be closed. I would ask for a motion from the floor to approve the updated city participation plan adjustments for COVID-19. Do I hear a
I'll
motion?
make a motion.
Okay, that's Steve. Okay,
And I'll second.
thank you, Ella.
You're welcome.
Okay, and Christine, you need to do a roll call for me?
Ron Crockett,
Yes.
Spence Flagg,
Yes.
Vernon Perry Jr.,
Yes.
Ella, seconded. Okay, Marjorie Tester,
Yes.
Steve, you made the motion, and Dan Witcher.
Yes.
Okay, the motion has carried. Okay, so now do I go to the second public hearing instructions?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, I would like to formally open the second public hearing by announcing that the public hearing will now be opened for the substantial amendment to the 2019 Community Development Block Grant Action Plan for the addition of coronavirus funds to the city of Bristol, Tennessee, and announce the following. The second public hearing provides citizens of Bristol, public agencies, and other interested parties an opportunity to express views regarding the use of funding. This additional funding was authorized by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development through the Coronavirus Act, Relief and Economic Security, also known as the CARES Act, to respond to the growing effects of this historic public health crisis. The CARES Act will provide an additional $115,966 in community development block grant coronavirus funding to the city of Bristol. In order for the city to allocate these funds, a substantial amendment is necessary. The 30-day comment period has been waived and a 5-day comment period has been advertised in the Bristol Herald Courier for the time period for June 8th through the 12th, 2020. Are there any comments or would anyone like to speak regarding the use of the additional CDBG/CV funding for the city of Bristol?
Okay, now this is when you're going to go to your list.
Okay.
Everybody ready for the public hearing?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yes.
So we have Lisa Kofer from the United Way with a request for $943.80. Lisa, would you like to tell us about your project?
And hey, listen, Lisa and Marjorie, before you guys start, could you, just some ground rules, can we limit it to about 3 to 5 minutes? And can you please set your name and your address for our record? Everybody will be asked to do that. Thank you.
My name's Lisa Kofer, Lisa-Kofer, and I'm the Executive Director for United Way of Bristol. And Chairwoman Marjorie Tester and Christina and all of the members, thank you all so much for allowing me just a couple of minutes to talk about our project. As you all know, when COVID-19 hit, a lot of things had to be implemented in our community. And one of those was to put together a plan to provide accommodations and services for homeless folks if they were being tested for COVID-19 and waiting for those test results back, or if they tested positive. So we worked for many days, many hours with a lot of you and others in both Bristol, Tennessee and Bristol, Virginia to develop a plan for our community. We got the final approval on that on a Thursday afternoon, and then on Monday afternoon I received a call from the health department saying we had our first homeless person that had tested positive. So we very quickly had to put that plan into place and start working on it. So we got the young woman into some housing. We were quickly able to provide her 3 meals a day through the Salvation Army, and thank the good Lord for them for doing that for us. And of course, we had to do a deep clean after she was there for a while. Luckily, she was only there for from Monday through Saturday. And then we were called by the health department that she was free to go, that she was now negative. So we did have some costs incurred. The total was $943.80. Being a nonprofit, you know, our budgets are very tight, and we, of course, did not have any money set aside for something like this. So our overall, this is included in our overall ask to you all to help us to cover the costs that we already incurred. The second part of that is a request for $12,243.80, and that is to provide quarantine services and accommodations to up to 10 homeless individuals for 14 days while they're being tested or if they do test positive. This includes shelter, food, transportation, deep cleaning after they leave, security. We did not have to provide security and transportation the first time, but since then we've realized that could be an issue. Don't have any idea. We did a little bit of research and tried to include a little bit of money in there in case we needed that. And we anticipate, based on everything we're reading and seeing from the health department, that there could be an increase in cases in the fall, and that's why we are asking for these dollars. We do know that if we don't use all of those dollars, what we would like to ask for is to be able to provide PPP and or cleaning supplies to our partner agencies for their staff and their clients during that time as well, if we do not use all of those funds. Does anybody have any questions?
Lisa, I've got a question for you, please.
Okay.
Regarding that, with some of the other agencies that you sponsor, they also are requesting funding for that very same thing, the hand cleaners and masks and stuff like that. So I just, my only question is not to duplicate and do the same thing twice.
Is that Steve?
Yes.
Okay, I thought it was. Steve, first and foremost, we're asking for the money to be able to house up to 10 homeless people. And then, so I anticipate we will use, unfortunately, probably have to use some money for that. Now, whether it'll be up to 10 people, I don't know. And certainly if someone has a different idea, if we needed to, do something different, if we don't spend that money, if the agencies don't need it. But I'll be honest with you, during this time, I mean, if we could have gotten our hands on cleaner and masks, and we did get masks, but a lot of different things, I don't know that we would have had enough for our agencies, especially once they start seeing clients again, if that makes sense.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Lisa, this is Ella Kane. I have a question. Besides that one homeless person, have you had any others that you've had to house?
No, ma'am, not yet.
Thank you.
So that's been a great blessing.
That's good.
Yes, yes.
And I'll be honest, I pray that we don't have any, but, and you all know this, our homeless folks have very little resources right there. And so, we just want to make sure that we're doing the best that we can for those that are our most vulnerable when they need us the most.
Thank you.
Hey, can I say something, Christine?
Sure.
Living close to where the homeless is, where she's talking about the mask and stuff, yes, that is needed. And you can see them even going into the Dollar General over here sometimes without a mask. They have to put on paper towels. And this is it's not now, but what if it happens again? They got to go somewhere, because the Haven or Salvation Army will not let them in.
Well,
they're part of
is that Vernon?
Yes.
Okay, Vernon. Yes, and we have access to masks right now. In fact, we just gave out another probably 350 to our agencies that needed them, and I've got another group of masks coming. So if and the Salvation Army and the Haven both know that we have access to those. So if I need to reach out to them again and remind them, I'll be glad to do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm with you on this idea, because I've seen it too much myself. And if they have nowhere to go, I mean, if the COVID does hit them, they cannot go to the Salvation Army or the Haven, and they're going to be laying up here in the alley somewhere with nowhere to go.
Well, and that just increases the opportunity for it to spread. And, we can't just send them to the hospital either, because of, the way that works, which I understand why it works that way. But we just, can you imagine if you didn't feel good anyway and you didn't have any place to go? So that's why we put the plan in place.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I was saying.
Thank you.
Marjorie, this is Dan Witcher.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for Ms. Kofer. Is it your intent to basically keep track of the funds that would be spent against, of course, the 943 is already given, but against the 12,000, so that maybe sometime in the fall you could come back with an accounting of how those?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. We will set up a separate kind of a, I don't even know, I'm not an accounting person, but I'll have our director of finance to set it up so that we can track every single thing. We'll do the same thing that we're doing with our Reunite program that we started recently, where we are able to buy bus tickets for homeless folks to get them back to reunite with their family and friends and familiar surroundings. And we're able to give anybody at the drop of a hat an accounting of what's been spent, how many tickets are purchased, and so on. And we'll do the exact same thing with this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. If we could move on to the Second Harvest Food Bank, I think that Rhonda Chafin is here with us. Rhonda, would you like to share with us what your project is about?
Rhonda, can you hear us?
Video. I'm gonna start my video so you can see me.
Hey, Rhonda.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Name and address, please.
Damn it, my video's not starting. I have it on start. There we go. Okay, now it's starting. It may have timed out. Rhonda Chafin. I'm with Second Harvest Food Bank of Northeast Tennessee. I'm the executive director. We're located at 1020 Jericho Drive in Kingsport, Tennessee. And Christina, you'd like me to go on into the presentation? I just want to thank everyone, Chairwoman Tester and all the City Commission for the opportunity to talk about the work that we do and to present our request. We have sent in a request for this special funding. Second Harvest Food Bank has been in COVID relief since March 13th. We've been on the front lines distributing food. Just to give you a little overview, we've already distributed 3.4 million pounds of food. And if you can see from our request, I'm going to give you a general overview and then I'll go down a little bit about.
Rhonda, you got to look at the screen, hon. We can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that's better.
Okay, I'll get up to the screen. So did you hear any of what I said?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear the 3.4 million pounds of food?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Now you can't hear, when you turn away, we cannot hear you. You got to be facing the screen.
Okay, thank you for that. I do apologize. We've seen about
Rhonda, you got to face the screen, hon. We can't hear you.
I'm facing the screen. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. We've seen about a 30% increase in requests for food assistance since COVID-19 started on March 13th. And what our request is to the city, we currently serve about 3,100 individuals on the average every month. And you can see from our proposal, we serve individuals through our school partnership, our Backpack Kids program. We serve individuals through our mobile food pantries.
Rhonda, we can't hear you.
Okay, Kim, can you help out with that situation?
You need to keep your face in the center of the
Yes,
screen.
look right straight into the screen. We can hear you now. But
We
when
can hear you when you're facing the screen. If you put your notes on top of your keyboard or something, that's where you need to have them.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I do apologize. It's a small screen and that may be the problem. So we serve about 3,100 individuals, and through that distribution within the Bristol, Tennessee area, we're serving 190 students through the school system partnership. And we've also distributed food boxes somewhat, but they've not requested as much as other schools. We serve 154 individuals through the mobile programs, Senior Grocery, and those go to Edgemont Tower and Shelby Tower, and in our partnership. And then about 2,800 individuals are served through our 14 active agency partners located in Bristol, Tennessee. 97% of all of our agencies have been active in distributing food. The reason that we're requesting special funding for our COVID-19 relief efforts is for food. We have seen a tremendous increase. We anticipate that we will see an increase in the amount of individuals that we serve. Overall, we are estimating 54,000. We will serve on a monthly basis from our 40,000 that we serve currently at Second Harvest Food Bank. The impact on the Bristol residents is that we'll probably see, estimated on what we're seeing as far as our distribution and the individuals, 4,960 individuals will need food assistance from Second Harvest Food Bank. And a lot of that's based on unemployment and other needs in individuals that have not requested food assistance before. We're requesting from the COVID relief funds $15,000 from the fund. And again, I think I did not share the total fund, our estimated fund for all 8 counties and our efforts as far as food. Our total project budget for just COVID-19 for the next 6 months is $1,968,000. And, you know, which is not part of our regular organizational budget. Is there any questions?
No, you're doing a great job, Rhonda.
Thank you. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. I do apologize.
Oh, shoot, we got it straightened out.
Okay, great.
Okay, our next organization is Appalachian Regional Coalition on Homelessness. Do we have a representative to speak for them today, Christina?
Ms. Tesser, I don't think that they're here today with us.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is anyone here from Bristol's Promise? Well, I guess I need to read their proposal, right?
No, we'll do discussion after everybody talks in the public hearing.
Okay, thank you. Bristol's Promise.
Melissa is here.
Thank you, Melissa. Would you share your project with us?
Good afternoon, everybody.
Here she is.
Hi, Melissa.
Hello. So first of all, let me say thank you all for your time tonight and for serving as stewards of the funding through the CDBG CD funds. That is a big job for you all, and I know that there are a great many requests, and I'm just honored that our projects be considered alongside others in our community. So at the beginning of COVID-19 in mid-March, we started a weekly Zoom meeting with area organizations, which was a coordinated COVID response meeting so that we could coordinate what was going on in the community. And through that, the idea came up that there was a need for showers for our homeless population. And this is where the Showers for Our Neighbors project came up. The strength of our programs comes from our commitment to what we call a collective impact model. So none of our projects or programs are done alone, but instead work with the incredible partners already within the Bristol community. The Showers for Our Neighbors project is the work of 21 organizations and agencies coming together to serve the most vulnerable people in our community. And the majority of our expenses, as you can see from our expense sheet, were covered by another organization. The majority of the expenses were making sure that cleaning and sanitizing was done after every shower. So we made sure that this was a safe place. We worked with our partners to get hygiene kits and to get dental kits to make sure that the people that we served had access to masks. I know Vernon was talking earlier how important that is. We did not require them to wear them because we know that there may have been trauma in their history that would have kept them from doing that. So we took a trauma-informed approach to this, knowing that trauma is in the room every time that we do a program or a project. So the additional amount that we have, we're grateful for your consideration for that. Anything that doesn't go directly to the expenses of the Showers for Our Neighbors project will be used to support the porta potty that is on site at the Haven of Rest. We know that there's not another accessible public bathroom in downtown Bristol, and Haven of Rest has been kind enough to allow us to keep that on their property for as long as we can, and they say that it is getting great use with that. So I'm happy to answer any of your questions, and again, grateful for your consideration to support our remaining expenses.
That's a pretty cool program you put together, Melissa.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. That's really a great idea. Thank you.
Any other questions for Melissa? Okay.
Was there, Marjorie, was there a funding amount given? I didn't hear an amount.
15.
$650.
$650, okay.
650. Okay.
Like I said, the majority of our expenses were covered by other organizations and other outlets, so we're asking for the remaining outstanding amount.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is Cindy Rocket here from Crossroads Medical Mission?
Can you hear me?
Hi, Sandy.
Hi there. So I am driving to another budget meeting, so forgive me. Anyhow, I'm Cindy Rocket, Crossroads Medical Mission, and Crossroads address is 300 West Valley Drive, Bristol, Virginia. We're housed in State Street United Methodist Church, but we serve Northeast Tennessee and Southwest Virginia, and we very specifically serve Bristol, Tennessee and Bristol, Virginia downtown. So we have estimated that our additional expenses related to COVID-19 will come in around $41,000 between new hardware that we need so that our computers will be up to date and that we'll be able to better serve our patients even through telemed appointments. We have had the majority of our volunteers, they're high risk, and so they've had to step aside from their volunteer positions, and that would include both administrative and professionals. And so our estimate of $41,000 we think is pretty darn close and covers a 12-month period. Our request for the CDBG additional funds is a request of $2,500. We think that that will really help us take a chunk out of the additional costs that we're incurring. Now, that's about as good as I can do. You all are going to have to question me while I'm driving along. What kind of questions? Oh, and for those of you that don't know, Crossroads is a mobile medical clinic, and we provide primary and urgent care free of charge to folks who are uninsured. And right now we're actually seeing an increase in new patients because people are losing their jobs and losing their health care coverage.
Cindy, I have a question for you.
We do not pass. Yes, sir.
It's me, Steve Willinger. The $2,500 is going to go toward that $41,000. Is that the idea for whatever that total project is?
That is exactly the idea. So we're hoping it will help us to cover our additional staffing when we're in Bristol, Tennessee, and to take a chunk out of some of the hardware expenses that we have as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Good question.
Another question, Marjorie, if I could ask of Ms. Rocket.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
It sounds like that this request may be a little hard to itemize. Is that true? I mean, it's just added to your funds because you know you have more activity. So it's not like you can say X went here and Y went there. Is that true? It would be not easy for you to itemize against.
I think I would be able to itemize it easily if we were to get specific with the funds. For example, if the funds would be approved to be used for salaries, that would make it very easy.
Well, do you have a recommendation? Because I think we might need to give an account at some point for how these funds were used. Is that
yes,
true,
that
Christina?
Hey, Dan.
Yes, ma'am.
Real quick, all of our funds are reimbursable. So they do not get the funding until they've given me appropriate invoices and we've done the appropriate POs, like the purchase orders and everything.
Bingo.
Everything is reimbursable to us. Yeah.
Got you. Okay. Well, that may cover it then.
Good.
And we are familiar with community development block grant money. We received that through Bristol, Virginia, and so I'm aware of the requirements of invoicing and itemizing.
So I have a question. I'm sorry to chime in. Do I have just a minute? Hi, Cindy. So if you were to use that funding for salaries, would you request additional monies?
From other locations?
From this CDBG?
Not for COVID-19. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Or
yes. For COVID-19.
$2,500 period. COVID-19, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Drive safely.
Oh, thanks. I have come to the parking lot of Washington County, Virginia. So I made it. I'm here safely.
Wonderful. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Okay. Do we have someone from the YWCA? Did I see Kathy Wall there earlier? Kathy, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. I can hear
me.
Yes, please tell us about your project and how you would like to allocate these funds.
Okay, very good. I'm Kathy Wall, the CEO of the YWCA of Northeast Tennessee and Southwest Virginia. Our address is 106 State Street, Bristol, Tennessee. And I want to thank you again, Marjorie, for this opportunity to request funding to assist the YW Children's Center, which is providing a safe environment during the pandemic. We're the only sliding scale child care program in Bristol that's serving primarily low-income households. So when Governor Lee mandated school closings, he encouraged child care centers to remain open, recognizing that child care is essential to our community, and especially in managing the pandemic crisis and for the financial stability of our community. So due to the hazardous environment and the increased expense of managing a child care program while adhering to the CDC recommendations, several child care centers were forced to close in our community. It made it much more difficult reducing our grouping size to 10. So we went from a licensing capacity of 84 to a little under 50. And you can imagine what it's like to try to social distance 8 3-year-olds in a classroom. It's close to impossible to do. And we very quickly realized that this wasn't a short-term challenge. And so we had to strategically think about planning for really 18 months of similar operations. And it's quite an expensive endeavor, is what I will say. When we limited our numbers to adhere to the CDC recommendations, we only offered care to essential workers, and that was as defined by Homeland Security. So we're serving military, police officers, medical personnel, utilities, food service employees and the such as that. And then realizing that if we have an exposure in our facility, that we're pretty much obligated to close for 14 days at this point in time. So really, to prevent the spread of germs is our highest priority, and the reduced exposure to some kind of COVID as far as the virus itself. So in doing so, it has created a huge expense. Currently, we've spent approximately $6,000, and that is not looking at the future, realizing that when we open back up, hopefully the governor will very soon, because now we have a waiting list for care again, that that amount will real quickly double as to what our need will be. But at this point in time, we're just requesting that original about $6,000. So again, just to realize that these are mandates, that they're not a choice for us. And in order for us to remain open, we have to meet these obligations that have been set forth by the CDC and the federal government. I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Well, I want to say thank you for stepping up to the challenge.
Yes.
Because it is a challenge to try to stay compliant and also care for our children in our community. And I really appreciate all you're doing to do that.
Thank you, Marjorie. It is a challenge.
I have a question. Kathy, this is Ella Kane. I want to know if the Children's Center was able to apply for a part of the $10 million in emergency grant funding to child care facilities offered by Governor Lee?
Yes, absolutely we have. Governor Lee, well, there's several initiatives. One is to provide federal or state payment for essential workers, but that also has to be done at the through the worker, I guess is what I'll say, not through our organization, because that's something we don't have control of. But in addition, what the governor has done is we have what's called certificate children, and those parents have difficulty paying the parent fee in these circumstances right now. So the governor's paying that parent fee for those children and for those parents. So that's what it's called, a differential rate. And then in addition, the governor is helping us with our loss of operational revenue. So we have applied for those dollars, and at this point we've been approved for $3,000 for the month of March, but our operational loss is more like $40,000 a month.
I'm sure.
Yes, it is. It's a little scary. We also got a PPP loan, which, as you know, was originally 8 weeks, and they've extended that a little bit now. It's no additional funding. However, when that ends, we are looking at an operational deficit of almost $50,000 a month if we're not opened back up to full capacity, if the governor does not open us up and allow us to fill the slots that we have available.
Okay. Thank you. Do you know if any of your families did apply through the DHS for the child care payment?
Yes, absolutely. I think we probably have 6 or 8 right now.
6 or 8?
Yes, and they can still go through, and the governor will back pay for that if they go in and apply. And if they do, then we have to reimburse them of any payment they've made to our organization.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I had.
Thank you. Good questions.
Okay, thank
Right.
you, Kathy.
Thank you all.
All right, have a good evening.
You too.
Okay, do we have a representative from the Bristol Public Library to share their project?
I think TJ is here. And Tanya.
Yeah. Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi.
Okay. This is Tanya. I just wanted to, I'm going to let TJ talk about it, but I wanted to introduce him. It's TJ. You guys probably know TJ DeWitt, and also just say on behalf of the library, I'm not so new anymore, but I started in January, but as the director, I wanted to thank you all for your time and let you know how much we appreciate it. And TJ is going to be the one to explain everything, though. Thank you.
Hi, TJ.
Hi. So we represent both the Bristol Public Library and the Avoca Branch Library. That's 701 Good Street, Bristol, Virginia, and 1550 Volunteer Parkway. And we're requesting $5,000 to do two different things. First of all, we want to increase our safety measures in the libraries, which includes adding plastic barriers and other PPEs, and adding extra sanitation measures, including our public computers, our books, our tables, chairs between uses, and in order to encourage social distancing between patrons. So we're asking for reimbursement for some of that equipment. But a lot of it will be, is going towards actual salary reimbursement for the Jones Creativity Center of the Bristol Public Library. We do a number of things, but we want to increase our job readiness services to individuals so they can find new employment, gain new education and skills to match whatever new openings in the job market when they come here in Bristol. The staffing enables the Jones Creativity Center to address the needs of individuals seeking employment or wanting to improve their job skills. The need is also there for people who have diplomas, but they're lacking digital literacy skills. We see a lot of people that have held jobs for years and are forced back into the workforce, but don't have the digital literacy to find a new job or take on a new role. These staffing positions will uniquely enable us to provide free one-on-one walk-in instruction in a computer lab to anyone with these kinds of needs 6 days a week. Do you have any questions for me?
I have one question. How many months it will, how many months of payroll will cover what the $5,000 cover? So how long will that last you for this program?
For the program, it should last us for a year. Tanya, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think looking at this,
I didn't know if you had plans for just a couple of months or if this was going to take you, so 1 year will be great. That's good.
I have a question for Christina. Is this program even eligible under the COVID funding? I understand.
John, can you hear me? Hey, it's Christina. So this program is eligible because basically, you know, our thing is to prepare, prevent, and respond to coronavirus, and economic development is an eligible activity. So anything to do with helping people get back in the workforce or skills to help them combat COVID-19 is considered eligible.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
question.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask, please, TJ.
Yes.
Tell me again what exactly this money is going to do. Are these volunteers that are going to do the training, or are you some sort of stipend or token thing?
this is pure staffing from the library. We may have to use some of our staffing resources that we had elsewhere to help with the extra demand for job searching, again, training one-on-one job skills and digital literacy. We do it both in small groups and in for individuals. So we anticipate with the joblessness rate going up so much, we may have to put more of our resources into job recovery.
Is this different than what you've been doing already?
We do this and we do it all year round, but we may need extra staffing and extra staffing hours committed to this project.
Okay, thank you, TJ.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, TJ. Bye, Tonda.
Bye, thank you.
Okay. Family Promise of Bristol. Do we have a representative here today?
We do not have a representative with us today.
Okay, thank you. Healing Hands Health Center. Do we have a representative?
Helen Scott should be here in person, so they're going to probably have to move her to a room where she can speak. So let's just give her 1 second, okay, everybody?
Okay.
Yes, she's on the way to the public comment computer, so she'll be up in 1 second.
Okay. Do we want to go to the next one while she's getting set up?
She'll just be a second. I mean, it's literally across the hall, if you're okay to wait for 1 second.
Sure.
Yeah, she should be there, and they should be turning on the video and audio now.
Okay.
Hi, y'all.
Helen, hello.
Helen.
Hey, Helen.
Hey. Thanks for letting me speak to y'all. And I think my request is going to be a little bit different, and this is something I've never done before. I am going to ask for an amendment to ask for less funds, believe it or not. Never done that before. So Healing Hands Health Center is 23 years old. We've helped over 3,000 uninsured residents of our region. We serve Northeast Tennessee and Southwest Virginia. Primarily, by far, the most people we help are Bristol, Tennessee residents. You know, we're a little bit similar to Cindy Rocket in that, you know, Crossroads is a traveling bus, mobile clinic on wheels. Healing Hands provides medical, but also dental is by far the #1 request that we receive. So about 9 out of 10 people, so really 90% of the requests that we receive are for dental. So a lot of people just have this culture of not taking care of their teeth. And, you know, their parents didn't teach them to brush their teeth, and they don't teach their children. So anyway, we've helped over 13,000 people. So Christina, I'm not sure if you're looking at my grant request or not, but where the 3 bullet points are, I'm going to withdraw the second bullet point where it asks for $2,800, mostly for PPE. So I'm asking for $1,800 for 2 dry shields, which is dental equipment. It's $900 a piece. It suctions the air when a dentist is working on a patient's mouth, and it holds their tongue over, and it allows the dental assistant to multitask. It's customized to fit each patient, and it holds down on any aerosols is the main thing. So, you know, working in a COVID patient's mouth is, you know, very risky. So we work with all the CDC guidelines. We take temperature, we ask questions. We are extremely careful. Everybody wears the PPE. But anyway, so that first request was $1,800 for 2 dry shields. Then the second request is $400 for cleaning supplies. So it's a total request of $2,200. So the cleaning supplies will be used in our 9,600 square foot building. And we own a student dormitory that's around 1,500 square feet. And we have a student dormitory because we have students that drive up from Memphis every 2 weeks. So they've been off because of COVID, and they are going to start coming back this coming Tuesday. We're getting ready to break ground on a 6-bedroom student dormitory next month. So we attract students that come up from Memphis, and dental students. And in the future, we'd like to attract medical students too. So it's a $2,200 request. We are used to reporting back, and like Christina said, we, we'll have, the adequate invoices. So this way, because we have taken off the $2,800, we have received several grants and found where we can get PPE at no charge. So we received 3 tremendous boxes of PPE today. So in good conscience, I could not request for more. The 3 boxes that came today were from TEMA. It's Tennessee's FEMA. So if anybody is looking for PPE, you can request weekly for PPE, and we were blessed with it. So I'm happy to ask any questions. I didn't say my name and address, I'm sorry. I'm Helen Scott, Executive Director of Healing Hands Health Center. Our address is 245 Midway Medical Park, Bristol, Tennessee. So I like to say we're located down the street from Kroger.
That's a fine store too.
It's a great, great place. And, I feel like Bristol's really fortunate to have Healing Hands.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. If we have to have a few dollars left over, can you spend it on something?
Yeah. And really, we sure could. Our annual operating budget is $1.39 million, and we will definitely be short, but this year. I worry about next year. I think a lot of people aren't looking to the future of what's going to happen next year. We received the PPP, and some state of Tennessee funds that are helping us, but we'll be short. But what I was surprised about, I didn't realize you could apply for funding for operating to help pay for employees. That didn't occur to me, and I didn't think to ask that. So, if we receive $5,000, we definitely could use it. I can't remember if I said it, but our annual operating budget is $1.39 million, and we will have a loss this year. So,
yeah, I understand. I don't think you can use it on people per se, but economic development staff apparently. But would you need 3 dry shields, or is 2 all?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah. So we are installing our 9th dental operatory. Steve, Gary McGow, he's yes. hard at work. So Healing Hands is putting in a 9th dental operatory. So we do have room for more dry shields, definitely. So
we'll make note of that if we have any money left over.
Okay, so $900 a piece, or $900 for each dry shield. That would be great.
Thank you, Helen.
Thank y'all.
So may I ask Helen a question, please?
Yes.
How you doing, Helen? This is Ella Kane.
Hi, Ella.
I know that Healing Hands provides medical services for those that are uninsured.
Yes.
Uninsured, do they still have to be employed? And if so, how does unemployment count towards that? If they're receiving unemployment?
Yes. So Healing Hands was founded 23 years ago to help the working uninsured. And so in our medical program, primarily because pharmaceutical companies will give us free medication to people who work and are less than 250% of the federal poverty guidelines, that we have stuck with that for medical. And because our medical is smaller than our dental, that's how we're managing. So our dental program, you do not have to have a job, and just because of all the need there is for dental, that's why you don't have to have a job. You just have to be 250% or less the federal poverty guidelines. So we do not count the COVID the unemployment due to COVID as part of their income.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you, Helen.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, do we have a representative from Believe in Bristol with us?
Maggie had RSVP'd that she would be here tonight, but I don't see her on our grid.
Hello, Maggie. Are you there?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, next is the Bristol, Tennessee, Virginia Chamber of Commerce.
Amy Shuttle's with us tonight.
Hi, Amy.
Hi there. Can you see me and hear me now?
Hi, yes. Hi. Can you share your project with us?
Sure. I'm Amy Shuttle. I'm the Senior Vice President at the Bristol Chamber of Commerce. We house Discover Bristol, which is the destination marketing organization for the city. We are located at 20 Volunteer Parkway in Bristol, Tennessee. So if I want to say thank you first and foremost for letting us have an opportunity. I know you're not used to seeing us ask for a request for funds, and this extraordinary time, it's a little different. So would love to give you a little background of why we're even asking to begin with. And thank you to Christina and all of the members of the Community Development Advisory Committee for your consideration. And if it's all right with you, I'd love to read to you a drafted letter that our President and CEO, Beth Reinhardt, had written. And I think, Christine, I'm not sure if you received it yet, but we'll have that hard copy to you as well. But would love to just read to you, if that's all right, to give you a little background about what we're wanting to do in the project. And also know that I'm very humbled with the company that I'm keeping. From what I see on the screen, there are some great needs out there in the community, and our need is a little different in compared to others, but hear me out for the consideration if you don't mind. And also, I know the ask on this initial project, since we've never applied for this type of funding before, the request was made based on fully funding a project, but please just note, we did not know what the funding pool was at the time that we made the request, and we would be gracious in working with anything that you all might consider for us. So just wanted to say that first off before I read this. So as a potential community development block grant recipient, we respectfully request that Bristol, Tennessee consider inclusion of Discover Bristol, the tourism marketing, the DMO organization for the city, in your action plan for funding through the CDBG coronavirus supplemental, the CDBG CV, as provided by the CARES Act. We understand that these funds are limited and that there is a great need. Many of our small businesses in our city are suffering from the lack of visitor spending due to the COVID-19 shutdown. And we believe that the very immediate needs facing the businesses during this reopening phase can be alleviated through a targeted, focused approach to bringing visitors back to Bristol in a very safe manner. The research shows that currently visitors are looking for a drivable destination that is deemed safe with an abundance of outdoor recreation available. And our businesses and our city tax base have seen an immediate impact from the shutdown and diminished visitor spending in our restaurants, retail establishments, and hotels. So the quicker we can infuse spending back into these businesses, the more likely they are all to succeed and be sustainable long-term. The COVID-19 health crisis has had a devastating and disproportionate impact on the travel and tourism industry, including Discover Bristol, that is funded through a combination of local hotel room taxes and private sector contributions. The stay-at-home orders and social distancing measures that were put in place in response to the outbreak have abruptly upended private sector finances and severely reduced hotel room tax revenue. Discover Bristol is a 501c6, and because of that status, we have not been eligible for any of the federal stimulus monies. According to current projections, These problems are only expected to get worse in the months ahead, according to data released by the U.S. Travel Association in partnership with Tourism Economics. Approximately 8 million jobs in the travel industry were lost by the end of April, accounting for a third of all job losses in the U.S. travel industry. Losses alone will wipe out over $500 billion from the economy, leading to an $80 billion decline in tax revenue this year nationally. The travel and tourism means a great deal to both Bristol, Tennessee and Bristol, Virginia, generating $2.7 billion in annual spending and supporting 23,530 jobs across the 1st District of Tennessee alone. These jobs are at risk of being lost permanently if more isn't done to support the needs of the destination marketing organizations and small travel businesses, many of which support low and medium income communities. The CARES Act provides $5 billion in CDBG CV funds to help communities respond to COVID-19, including efforts to avoid any job loss caused by social distancing measures. The Act also gives the HUD Secretary the ability to waive any regulation that would prevent grant recipients from fully responding to the effects of the outbreak. In response to similar crises in the past, HUD has provided waivers for grantees to use CDBG funding for travel promotion and tourism management. Further, given the unique challenges facing the travel industry, it is appropriate to help DMOs and small travel businesses keep workers employed, particularly since many of them have not been able to access the Paycheck Protection Program. As we continue to act in the interest of public health and safety, it's important that we not allow the destination marketing organizations and small travel related businesses wither at the vine and close permanently. The resulting job losses would make the road to economic recovery much longer and only put low and medium income communities further behind. Therefore, it is critical that we ask you consider the needs of the DMOs and the small travel related businesses in your CDBG CV action plan. We respectfully request you to consider some level of funding to Discover Bristol through this crisis that allows for such a waiver request. We're grateful for any support and funding that you all may be able to offer to us. And I'll take any questions if you have, but specifically what we're looking to do with this funding. First off, we have hired Christopher Perrin, some of you may know, as our new director of marketing here for Discover Bristol. And he would be the one that would be taking care of this project if we would to be funded in some form or fashion. And what we would be doing is creating an immediate short-term marketing campaign designed to safely draw the visitors back to Bristol to support those hurting tourism-related businesses. I've said a lot, so I'll let you ask any questions if you have them. Thank you.
Do you know what your marketing budget is right now?
Well, it's kind of a moving target right now. As you know, that we are funded through hotel, motel, lodging taxes primarily as the calculation when we're funded from our localities, but then also we have some other funds that we can do to leverage grant funding. We're waiting for this cycle for the budgets to be passed to kind of see where we are in that. So that's why this would be a great opportunity if we were able to apply for anything that we could do. We could scale up a marketing plan down for whatever you all might be able to help us with. We would work with what you all would be able to.
Do you have a dollar amount on your actual line item for marketing?
We do have an advertising marketing line item.
It doesn't have to be exact, just ballpark.
Well, it's all grant-based primarily. So, you know, typically we would have marketing. It's kind of, we have a lot of leverage funds too that we do for grant writing through the tourism entities. So, you know, we had budgeted that we would spend $35,000 specifically in advertising and promotions, but obviously that is not going to happen. And like I said, we did not receive any support or funding because we are a 501c6. So right now, I'm not sure what that number is going to shake out to be until we get our hotel, motel, lodging tax. I know that has a lot to do with the way that we're funded through the cities as well. And since those numbers are down considerably, the initial numbers that we have, it looks like things have been cut pretty drastically.
Okay.
So it's not a hard, easy number to answer at this point. What we had budgeted is not going to be what has happened for this year.
Sure, I understand that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This is Ron. I have a question.
Yes.
I understand your proposal is conditional on getting the waiver that you may not qualify per se without the waiver. Who would
Correct.
prepare the waiver?
So we have prepared that document already, and I've sent that over to Christina. If you all would be willing to consider us for funding, then that document could be sent over.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Amy does know that even if we do propose her funding, and we send out the waiver, that, Secretary Carson would still have to AOK any funds that are allotted to them.
Got it.
And we are pulling all of our research has come from Tennessee Tourism, Virginia Tourism, U.S. Travel. They've done tons of research on what people are wanting to do and how they're wanting to kind of come out of these stay-at-home orders and tracking their patterns. So we know the demographic specifically that we need to go after, and we know specifically where they're located. So we can have a very targeted approach to get those dollars to come into this community and help support these businesses that, quite frankly, a couple of them, we're not sure if some of them are going to be able to stay open. So we've been working night and day trying to help all the businesses that we could, but this would be a gift if we could do this to help these businesses.
One more, this is Dan Witcher, one more question. How would this advertising marketing plan be conducted? Would it be news media? How is that plan going forward?
Well, depending on how much funding would be available for us is the approach that we would take. So, if we could do a full-blown marketing campaign, we would do a little of everything. But because this is a very short-term, immediate marketing campaign, so we can grab those visitors that are wanting to come to visit, places that are safer to come. It would be primarily on social platforms so that we could reach those people quickly. And that would be the focus at this point. If there were more funds, we would expand beyond that. But it would have to be something that would be a very quick turnaround so that we could do this quickly and grab those visitors. They're planning now, and like many of us, we're planning vacations after we've been stuck at home. We're planning on what we can do to get away. So they are making plans now. We just want to make sure that they include Bristol in those plans. We are deemed a very safe place for people to come visit. So if they don't come here, they're going to go somewhere else. We just don't want to lose those dollars. And those dollars will help the tourism entities and the retailers and the restaurants and the hotels here. But then bottom line is then those retail taxes that they're getting are also going to be going back into the city too for retail tax as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you all for the consideration. We greatly appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, do we have a representative from the Birthplace of Country Music?
Christina, it's Leah. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's Marjorie Tester's running the meeting, Lita. We can hear you.
Okay.
Hi.
Mark. Oh, I'm not on video because I'm doing this on my phone and I'm a little technical challenged. But I was driving home when I started this. So I'm Leah Ross, the Executive Director of the Birthplace of Country Music. Our address is 416 State Street, Bristol, Tennessee, and our museum is located at Country Music Way in Bristol, Virginia. Okay, you've asked me to start my, oh, there it was. Can you see me now?
I see the top of your head. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Okay. Thank you. I tried to get on video and it said that it had been disabled, but we appreciate the opportunity to speak to you tonight and request funding for the Birthplace of Country Music. We have asked for $2,500, I'll say that up front, for PPE for when we open the museum and open our office back up. We will be announcing really soon our museum reopening. And as you know, our museum has been closed, our offices have been closed. So we've had very little revenue coming in, and it has put a hard on us when you don't have visitors coming through, and all of our tour buses have canceled for the year. So we have asked for equipment to get us prepared to accept visitors, not only into the museum, but into our office also. We requested funding for masks, the hand sanitizer. We got our own bottles and bought the hand sanitizer from Lost State Distilling because it was very hard to get that. One of the things that we've added since I sent in that request is the shields that will go with our at our stations where people check in. It covers our gloves, and we will be able to track that and provide invoices. But it would really help us out. I know we haven't asked for a lot, but any amount of help that we could get in those expenses would be greatly appreciated.
Any questions for Leah?
She made it pretty simple and clear.
Yes, ma'am.
One quick question, Leah. I believe the Birthplace Country Music is a 501c3 organization. Is that correct? So it wouldn't be like.
Yes, it is.
Gotcha. Okay.
It is.
No
And we've gotten CDBG funding before also, so we know the guidelines and how everything has to be tracked. So we would be able to provide that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess there are no more questions.
Okay.
Hey, thank you guys and ladies.
Yeah. Have a good evening.
And you too.
Bye, Leah.
Bye.
Okay. Christina, do we want to go to the Paramount Center?
I don't think Miles Merrick is here with us.
Okay.
And I do want to go ahead and ask you please go ahead and remove the city's request.
Okay.
You know, we've had a lot of debate, and we really don't want anyone to feel like the city is taking funding away from any nonprofits.
Okay.
But I mean, if we obviously do have some expenses, but if any funds are left over and you guys want to talk about possibilities, we'd be happy to entertain those.
Thank you very much. Okay. Is there any other discussion from any other guests or from the public that may be on this Zoom call? Any other comments from the public? Okay. All right, can we proceed on to the discussion of the funding requests that have been presented?
Marjorie, you're going to have to publicly close the public hearing.
Okay. I will formally close the public hearing by announcing there will be no further comments. The public hearing will now be closed.
Thank you.
Okay.
And all those people who were in the public hearing should leave.
Well, anything that we do is open to public.
Oh, it has to be an open meeting. Oh, okay.
Open sunshine laws.
Sunshine laws. Okay, whatever.
Okay.
I
hope I don't offend anyone. I tend to be blunt.
Anybody that knows you.
Okay, so do we have some discussion about any of the funding requests?
I have none whatsoever on any of the nonprofits. The only challenge that in reading through the original request.
Steve, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got him.
Okay, here I am. Hey, listen, all the nonprofits.
That's
were
better.
The only challenge that I really had in reading that whole report was the request from the Chamber of Commerce. And even after listening to her, I understand why they could use the funds, but I see no merit to taking COVID funds toward their request. I mean, and that's just me. And I understand what they try to do and how it's going to bring it back, but we have other organizations that could really use that money for the similar things as to others, that they can stay open and keep their places clean and safe. So that's the only one that I never did warm up to.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
May I comment, Ron?
Yes, sir.
I share Steve's general opinion. However, hearing their explanation tonight, I don't know how successful they'll be getting the waiver, and I hate to see. I mean, these other things that have been requested, everything seems reasonable and very legitimate. You know, we gotta get the total within the dollars. So how are we going to do that?
Right, we have to be reminded that we have $115,966, and we have requests that total $154,837.60. So if you take off their $50,000 request, that leaves us under budget.
Well, that leaves some money then to apply to them, and I would like to reconsider the request from, you know, they cut their money from, oh gosh, what's the name of the medical place?
Healing Hands.
Healing Hands.
Right.
Healing Hands.
I know they can use the money, and you know, I don't know how we allocate what the rest is. So if we give everybody what they asked for, except for the Chamber of Commerce and the Discover program or whatever it's called, how much would be left for that program?
Well, and there's also the 10,000 from the city that they took out.
Yeah, so in actuality, because we have our CDBG normal administration, which is 20% of the grant, which is $23,193.20. That is just for administration of this grant. So the actual total available funding is $92,700.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah,
I just
there
want
you
to make
go.
sure we're all on the same page.
Yes.
Yeah. So has anybody got a spreadsheet so they can add up all these numbers and see where we are?
Well, if you
Christina already did that.
I have everybody's request in. I don't have it with taking away the city's 10,000. Well, who can just take away the city's 10,000 and then, you know, just throw something out. What do you feel like you want to support the chamber at, Ron?
Well, I don't know. I got to know what the number is.
Okay, if you take off the 50,000 for the chamber and 10,000 from the city, that leaves 94,837. So take off also the Healing Hand 2,800.
Then that gets us down to the 92,000 we have to spend.
Yep, we're on budget with that.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't propose cutting any of these other requests. I really don't. What do others think?
I've got one question, Christina. Did you say that you were the administering the program? The city was basically going to get $23,000 to administer?
We are eligible to take that much. We don't have to, but that is what is the normal administration for the going rate for these community development block grant funds and what the federal government has approved for us.
But that was not included in that, reducing that to 92, is that correct?
Oh, no, that
included.
was, that's after reducing.
But you guys, you know, here's the deal. If you want to give funding to extra nonprofits, to nonprofits, we will make it work. We'll make it work. We will.
I think the city can use the money.
Yeah, and I didn't get the answer to that question. At least I'm not getting it in my mind. Did the 92,000 include 23 to the city?
So the total amount available was the 115,966.
Right.
And then the 20% that the city could possibly have was the 193,770, which then left you with 92,772.80. So technically that is excluding the admin. But again, we don't have to take that full amount of admin.
Do you have a number that would be an admin that would be fair looking across the board that we could maybe put into the mix here?
Well, honestly, that 20% is what the city normally takes. But like I said, you know, we've been in several discussions here in the city, and we don't want any nonprofits to feel like the city is taking funds. We will cut our admin to make sure people are taken care of. So I do not have a request prepared for it.
However, as a taxpayer and a representative of this committee, I am incensed that Bristol is dipping into its reserves to fund its next year's budget. Therefore, I think this money should be reserved for the city.
I would agree.
I second that motion right there.
Well, it is going to be additional work on us. It already has been a significant amount of additional work, but we don't want anybody to feel like, we're taking advantage of them.
Christina.
No, this is a taxpayer talking. I'm on this committee too.
Okay.
Christina?
Yes.
Let me ask this. Listen, we've gotten these initial requests, and I would be willing to bet somebody hasn't heard about it, doesn't understand it, and one of the organizations that's applied might tell another. And I would rather reserve, go ahead and take your 20%. And then if we found another one of the nonprofits that said, hey, I need this or that, then take that up and look at, can we fit it in that budget?
Yeah, thank you.
I have one other suggestion that you can think about. The Believe in Bristol asked for $15,000 to provide training to businesses in downtown Bristol with an emphasis on financial planning and disaster preparedness, which is very important. But if we gave them maybe $10,000 and took the other $5,000 and gave it to the chamber for them to do some marketing, that way everyone that is asked would get a portion. Is that something that anyone would consider?
I would still vote down the Chamber of Commerce.
I would too. I would vote them down.
Okay.
And sadly, they come back to the well all the time. They've always had problems. And I love the Chamber. Don't get me wrong with that. But, they brought on a new employee to do some things. And I just don't feel like this money was ever designed to help a Chamber of Commerce market.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope I don't offend anybody myself.
Not at all.
No, that's why they're a 501c6.
Right. And I just, it's not, those dollars aren't going to do what I think they were intended to do, which are these applicants. However, Marjorie, I do agree with you about that 15. That's a little bit stiff. We might want to hold back, $5,000 as you proposed. And if for nothing else, like I say, we might be able to use that for a valid cause.
To feed someone.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we know Second Harvest Food Bank, no matter how much you give them, they still need more. And the same thing is true with most of these organizations.
Yes. Okay.
Well, Healing Hands.
I'm with Steve. I'm with Steve. How many other kind of feel that way?
I think that's a great idea.
I agree that.
Steve, you want to make that into a motion?
I make a motion that we approve those that are currently nonprofits that have requested funding from us to be approved, except for the, what was it, Believe in Bristol?
Bristol, to lower it to 10,000 instead of 15.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, they've got two requests, one for 2,500 and one for 15.
Yeah, they've got the 2,500 for the hand sanitation stations downtown, and then they've got the 15,000 for the community, small business community economic development. I think that's the one Marjorie's talking about.
Right.
Yeah, these are reimbursable, so they would have to spend that money to get it back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I second.
Thank you. Okay, Christina, would you do roll call for me?
Poor baby.
Sorry. Okay.
No, wait. I'm sorry. I have a question.
Yes.
Steve, can you say that motion again?
Yes. I make a motion to approve the nonprofit requests for funding, except for reducing the amount of request from 15,000 to 10,000 for Believe in Bristol.
And
Chamber
and
of Commerce
the
is
chamber,
also
the
not.
chamber is still, I mean, a 501c6 is considered a nonprofit though, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a 501c, so you would have to exclude them too.
You want me to redo it? I'll make a different motion.
Just say exclude them.
We're saying nothing to the chamber?
Right.
I can see their argument. But there's a lot of people affected by COVID working, and we need people in these restaurants, but I'm probably a little biased.
Oh, yeah, Spence, of course. And like I said, it's not that I'm anti-chamber or what they want to do. It's just my sense of what this program is designed to do. That just doesn't sound consistent with it. I'd rather be able to see you have things you need, or one of the nonprofits.
I like to see people get back to work.
Absolutely. But I kind of think too, the drama on the presentation, I think it's already happening. I really believe that. I see it. And as a realtor, I'm seeing it more and more every day. It's just going crazy. So I believe that there will be a natural trend to come here.
Spence, if it helps you any, that's kind of in the back of my mind, that I kind of wonder how much positive impact a marketing venture at this point would have, because I think Bristol is very well marketed. And I think there are a lot of people ready to make. I know I've got 50 some people coming into town in July that want hotels for a wedding. So, I mean, I think I don't know, we'll need a marketing effort. I think these restaurants and hotels are going to be back in full run soon. Just.
So, Madam.
Spence is hands-on. So you're seeing lack of traffic, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've got employees laid off my bread and butter, and I think a lot of people around here, especially downtown, is about the tourism. We don't rely on locals.
Right.
So I'm glad people are getting back out and going to eat at O'Charlie's and shopping at Food City and Walmart and all that, but it's getting people in these hotels and bringing the waitresses and bartenders and everybody else back to work that rely on the tourism. They're at home. I've got employees at home. I don't know when, I'm opening tomorrow, but I'm going to gradually bring the employees back. They're just still sitting at home. And the people that are going to be coming in here are going to be locals. They're not they're not coming here from Asheville, Nashville, and Atlanta, Roanoke. They could be.
So, Madam Chairwoman, I think what we need to do is, Tim.
Let me interject here, Madam Chairwoman. It would be nice, and I think it would be very clarifying if we read how much funding you're proposing to each nonprofit and for the motion, just so we get a clear accounting, because you had some that wanted less than's posted on the website and in your packets.
I can do that. Okay, the United Way of Bristol is $943.80. The United Way of Bristol is has a request for $12,243.80. That the first one was actual costs that have been incurred for the homeless person that they had to find emergency housing. The other is for a contingency plan for 10 people for the next several months, just in case. Second Harvest Food Bank was for $15,000. Appalachian Regional Coalition on Homelessness is $2,500. Bristol's Promise is $650 for costs incurred already for the portalet. Crossroads Medical Mission is $2,500, and this is for hardware and for salary for people, just for serving Bristol, even though they serve other areas. YWCA is $6,000 that they have already spent to meet mandates and to service the children of essential employees. The Bristol Public Library is $5,000 for the Jones Creativity Center Job Readiness Program to help people become employed again and to do job searches. Family Promise of Bristol is $25,000. Healing Hands Health Center is for $5,000, but they reduced that. So their total ask now is $2,200. Believe in Bristol is $2,500. That's for the hand sanitation stations downtown. And then the chamber was the $50,000. Believe in Bristol, $15,000 for business training to help prepare businesses financially and to help prepare for disaster preparedness. Birthplace of Country Music is $2,500. And that's for cleaning supplies. Bristol, Tennessee's request was withdrawn. Paramount Center is $2,500, and that's for sanitation supplies.
Do you have a total on that, Marjorie?
It is $92,037.
No, you included. I thought you included the $50,000 for the for the Chamber of Commerce. Did you not?
I have subtracted that out.
You subtracted that out. Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's the 92. Okay.
I subtracted the Healing Hands difference, the $50,000 for the chamber, and the $10,000 for the city. That's the only adjustments I made.
And Madam Chairman, I think Mr. Willinger's motion also, Believe in Bristol was 10,000 instead of 15. Is that right, Mr. Willinger?
Correct. Yes, Tim.
Okay.
And did that include the Believe in Bristol, the 2,500 on the top of that, Mr. Willinger?
She read both.
Yeah,
Okay.
there were two separate programs.
What's the total you got?
Yeah.
We have, and Christina, if you're checking, we have $89,526 is the total that per that motion that Mr. Willinger made.
89,000. Can you repeat one more time? I'm sorry.
$89,526.80.
Who can check that figure real quick?
Sheriff Young has it on a spreadsheet that I'm looking at, and we can read them back to you if you want.
I don't need them read back. I just want to know that if we're putting this in the minutes, it's an accurate total.
Correct. She's emailing that to Christina as we speak, that spreadsheet. So
I think that's a very good number, guys. Sure do.
where's your spreadsheet?
Now,
But that did include the 2,500.
Here's the total.
Sanitation.
United Way, or yeah, 13,187.60, 943.88. 187.
That included the 2,200, I think, for Healing Hands, Steve.
Did you get that?
Oh, no, I was referring to, what is it, Believe in Bristol, that wants to put hand sanitation stations downtown?
Oh, the 2,500?
Yeah, did that include, was that included?
that is included, but the other one was cut from 15 to 10.
2,500,
Right.
6,000, 5,000, 25,000, 2,200.
Bear with us, guys. Just a second.
2,500, 10,000, 2,500, 2,500. So totaling all those, once again, we do have a little correction. It's $89,537.60. 89537.60.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim. And Sheriff?
Yes, hi, Sheriff.
Hi, Sheriff.
Now, I don't have any knowledge of downtown business development, and that is very important for our community. I wish, Spence, could you elaborate on that a little more?
Well, I mean, I know that I'm not the only one that has employees at home directly due to COVID. I mean, besides my business hurting, there's lots of employees, whether it's from the hotels or the restaurants, the bars. I mean, you know, I think the
In the retail stores.
retail stores,
Yes.
yeah, directly due to COVID. You know, we can get people in these shops, get people in these bar stools, get people in the hotel rooms, then these businesses can bring back the employees. They can start paying payroll taxes. They can start bringing, the city would see a direct correlation to those monies. Those cities.
Spence?
I could understand that if this effort had gotten underway and was funded a month ago so that it could be planned, so that it could be rolled out. But I wonder right now. But I think we ought to take, I don't think we should discard them completely. We've got this 89,000 that we're going to commit to spend. And so I think that's what we should vote for right now. I think we should think about this Chamber of Commerce some more, because if there's a way they can roll it out really, really fast and really make a dent, I'd like to hear about it. But I don't know how that's done in the marketing and advertising world. I just don't know.
Hey, Ron?
Yes.
Steve here. Hey, listen, when I listened to her program, she talked about social media, and there can be direct costs, no doubt, with social media, but that's really the free highway for marketing, and that's what they were talking about doing. So yes, you buy ads on Facebook and others, but still they have the resources to really build a marketing program through social media, and the employee would be the biggest expense to that.
It sounded like they, sorry. It sounded like they knew their demographic and where exactly they wanted to go and who they wanted to target, that it wouldn't be a shot in the dark, let's try these people out. It's, they know who they're going after.
Oh, I agree, and you can focus.
We want the people, you know, in my perspective, I want the people that are coming down from Cleveland, Cincinnati, that are on their way to Charleston, you know, passing through. I want to get on the radar. And I know I'm not the only one, and I do speak for bias. If I need to remove myself, I will. But I understand the fight and the struggle that to what the chamber's going through and what these other businesses are seeing. I mean, that every local dollar is great, but that's not going to keep me alive.
I think Amy has a really compelling story too, guys. I'm with you. But after you take out that 89, 537.60 that we just added up, that leaves you $3,235.26 if you want to keep the admin like you just talked about.
I was just getting ready to make that number known, Christina. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not stirring the pot. Just wanted you to know what was left there.
So we could allocate what's left to the chamber if you would like to.
Again, these are recommendations to council. That doesn't mean that they're 100% going to go with what you recommend. So I just, want to make sure everybody knows that. These are recommendations. They could make changes. We
have to get the waiver too.
Correct. We would have to get the waiver.
How long will it take to get that? And
I don't know, Ron.
They can spend the money.
I don't know, Ron.
2 months, 3 months? That's in the back of my mind. I don't mind giving them what's left of the 92. But going beyond that, without a waiver, I don't know.
Okay.
What do the rest of you think?
I'm okay with it. Because if we give everybody else's need.
I don't know that much about downtown Bristol, but I've been very close working with the Martha Washington Inn. And they are opening next week. They've been closed since March. Any weddings they had in May, June, they kicked off the books. The month of June is already completely filled every weekend. And they're talking about the Barter Theater opening back up in about 6 weeks. And I think some of that activity is going to come right into Bristol. I mean, we have hotels booked in Bristol for crowds coming on the 18th of July. And I don't know that there's a big marketing push going to be a great benefit. I think being open and serving people, that's what's going to sell it. People know about Bristol.
We've missed out on the race. We've missed out on border bash. We've missed
I understand
out on a whole lot of downtown activity.
I understand that. That's why it's got to be open to make it work.
Well, we need to get people down here for outside of just.
Yeah, but nobody can come if the race isn't open to public. Nobody can come anyway.
We've missed out.
You got to open up first, and then people will come. That's what I'm getting at.
I kind of agree with Dan and Steve. For myself, I believe that the funding needs to be more so towards helping those people who are out of business that need health care, for myself, and that are homeless. So I don't find the chamber to be on the top of the list for myself. But Spence, I know, I understand your viewpoint too. Having been a business owner, I certainly understand your point of view as well. But I agree with Dan, it has to be opened up.
I get the medical supplies. I get all that. It would be a shame not to see them get something for this initiative.
Okay, we need to have a motion.
I think we already have the motion in a second. Are we going? We've been having discussion. Do we want to amend the motion to include the balance of the 92,000? And I'll go ahead and make a motion to amend the original motion to use the balance of the $92,000 and apply it to the Chamber of Commerce for the program they requested.
I'll second that.
Okay. Christina, can you do the roll call for me?
Yes. Chairwoman Tester.
Voting on the amendment, not the main motion.
I got you. Ron amended the original motion to use the balance of $3,235.20 to the chamber towards their CDBG-CV request. Steve seconded the motion. Chairwoman Tester. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Uh-oh, Marjorie is frozen. Marjorie, hey, Chairwoman Tessick, can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Did you hear the motion, the amendment to the first motion? Okay, do you roll call, yay or nay?
Yes.
Spins flag.
Yes.
Vernon Perry Jr.
Yes.
Ella Kane.
Yes.
Steve seconded it. Dan Witcher.
Yes.
And then Ron made it. Okay. Motion passes.
Okay.
Now we go back to the main motion.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to accept all of the nonprofits. Christina, do you have it so that you can read it exactly as Steve said it?
Yes. I have paper all over my desk. I'm sorry, you guys.
I know.
Okay. Steve Willinger made the motion to approve current nonprofits' request for funding, except for Believe in Bristol from $15,000 to $10,000 and excluding the Chamber of Commerce. And that.
No, that was amended.
With the amendment.
With the amendment.
Yes.
To, Ron amended the original motion to use the balance of $3,235.20 to the chamber for their COVID-19 project.
Yes. Okay.
We have done roll call and it has been approved.
Okay.
The main motion hasn't been approved.
Yeah, got to do the main motion.
Yeah, do roll call.
Okay, roll call, main motion.
Thank you.
As amended.
Too much paperwork, you guys. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Chairwoman Tester.
Yes.
Ronald Crockett.
Yes.
Spins Flag.
Yes.
Vernon Perry.
Yes.
Ella Kane.
Yes.
Steve Willinger.
Yes.
And Daniel Witcher.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other comments from the public? Okay. I would like to formally close the public hearing by announcing there will be no further comments, and the public hearing will now be closed. Okay.
You closed it, but we're good.
We did it. We did it. Thank you all so much for being willing to conduct the meeting in this matter. I really appreciate everyone's comments and your participation. It was so important, and I feel so good about the different organizations we're going to be able to help, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, Marjorie, you need to ask if there are any other matters and then adjourn.
That we need to discuss today.
I will see you back at the round table.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Meeting is
Thank you.
adjourned. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.